NBA playoffs. Isn't that fantastic? Absolutely it is. Doubleheader yesterday, doubleheader today as we find out who is going to be the top 8 seeds and the official start of, the official start of the playoffs, not the play-in rounds. But we love the play-in rounds. There's a lot of fun to be had, a lot of angles to play, and certainly some money to take a look at moving forward. Let's take a look at the first game tonight that's due to tip just after 7 o'clock in Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo Center. That's the Miami Heat and the Philadelphia 76ers. Current lines here at the FanDuel Sportsbook, a minus 5.5 point favorite for the Sixers, and a total that's listed at 208. If we look, Davis, at some of the betting statistics coming directly from the FanDuel Sportsbook, how about this? 6 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on the Philadelphia 76ers. Line bouncing around a little bit, was 4.5 yesterday, up to 5.5 today. Sixers Heat. Let's get after it.
It's a big game. I mean, it's probably up into this point in the season the most important game that has been played because both of these two teams can realistically tell themselves, we can win the NBA championship. We can beat the Boston Celtics. We can beat the Milwaukee Bucks. We can beat the Knicks. And then if it comes to that point, we can beat the Nuggets. We can beat the Thunder. We can beat the Timberwolves. We can beat the Lakers, whoever makes it there. I mean, I definitely think that had Joel Embiid not gotten injured, the Philadelphia 76ers would have been the 2nd seed, so they would have been playing the eventual winner of this game. I guess it probably would have been Heat Pacers is the way that would have shaked out. And the Heat also, I mean, maybe more importantly, the Heat believe that even if they do lose this game, that they'll be able to win the 9-10 game, and they'll be able to go back to their locker room, and Spoelstra will be able to look all these guys in the face, and they say, look, we already did this. We have already beaten the Boston Celtics in a playoff series. Now it's a different look, a different version of the team. They have Kristaps Porzingis now instead of Marcus Smart. They have Drew Holiday now. Celtics, look, it's a tough mountain to climb. I don't think it's likely that the Heat or the 76ers beat the Celtics in that eventual series, that they will. I mean, look, you'll have to do it. I don't see the Celtics losing to the Hawks or to the Bulls or to whoever they face in the second round. But the 76ers definitely can do it. I mean, now that Kristaps is mostly their starting center and they're playing Horford less, I mean, what is the Boston Celtics defensive plan against Embiid? That no Robert Williams to throw at him. I mean, I don't really think you want Cornette out there. Like that eventual matchup is fascinating.
By the way, if we are looking at this game between the Heat and the 76ers, and again, if the Heat win, they are going to face the New York Knicks. The loser here is going to get into that round where it's like, okay, win that game, and then you take on the Boston Celtics, which will be fascinating by the time we get there. But yesterday, we had 2 unders in the playoff markets between both of those games. Today, we have an extremely low number listed at 208. So let's just say the Philadelphia 76ers do win this game. Are we looking at more of a tempo game? And I don't mean tempo like we're going to get 225, 235 points, but 208 isn't a lot. Your idea of the pace tonight between the Heat and the 76ers, what is that?
It's going to be super slow between these two teams. I mean, the Miami Heat are going to grind this game to an absolute halt. That is really how they play their best basketball. They do not want to be getting out there at all. The Heat are a bottom 5 team in terms of overall pace. It suits the way they play. They are a grinded out. In fact, they are almost the slowest team in the entire NBA. Only the New York Knicks play at a slower overall pace. And the 76ers play a little bit faster. I mean, they're right about league average in terms of pace. The only guy they have who's going to want to push the ball at all is Tyrese Maxey, maybe the fastest player in the NBA. But the Kyle Lowry possessions, the Joel Embiid at the elbow possessions, I mean, those are possessions that are going down to 2 seconds left on the shot clock. I know it's a very low number, but I would lean more under than I would lean over. I think if you did do over, you would want to correlate it with Maxey somehow, like Maxey over made 3-pointers, Maxey over assists, something like that, because for this game to be a 112, 108 style game, it's definitely going to be more Maxey. Maybe it would be a hero game, actually. Maybe it would be, Kyle Lowry's doing a good job on Jimmy Butler. The only way we've got, and Embiid is just like erasing Bam Adebayo, which I completely expect. I think Bam will be pretty quiet in this game. Maybe it is Tyler Hero takes 14 3-pointers in this game. He does his best Jack Golke impersonation. I could definitely see that as an avenue. The thing you got to realize is, I mean, I am not even close to being able to access Eric Spoelstra's brain right now. Spoelstra, for my money, best coach in the NBA. I'm sure he'll have a very good game plan. I don't know if it'll work or if it won't, but Spoelstra has got a plan for this game, and if I had to guess, my guess would be he wants to slow it down as much as possible.
Secondary players certainly going to have to step up in this game if you want to help your team win. But let's focus on the superstars here. First with the Philadelphia 76ers at the FanDuel Sportsbook. Joel Embiid, points prop tonight, 30.5. We're expecting dominance. Rebounds, 11.5. Assists, 4.5. Take a look at Tyrese Maxey, his wingman. That will be points, 23.5 at the FanDuel Sportsbook. Rebounds, 3.5. And assists, 6.5 here. If we're looking between those two players here, is there a certain prop that sticks out? Do we think Embiid's going to dominate? Do we think Maxey's going to have his ball in his hand a lot here? Or are we looking at unders? Because the Sixers can win this game and the game can stay under. How are you approaching Embiid and Maxey numbers tonight, Davis?
You know, the controversial one here would actually be under on Joel Embiid's rebounds. One, we just talked about how slow that pace is going to be. And I would, again, trying to get into the mind of Eric Spoelstra, my thought would be keep Joel Embiid off the offensive glass. Whatever we have to do to keep Embiid from getting second chance points on some of these three-pointers, we got to do that. Just like if they want to make their offense, giving the ball to Embiid 10 feet away from the basket and having him try to get buckets on Bam, I mean, that's probably a winning strategy for the Miami Heat as opposed to the 76ers. So no fronting of Embiid. Make sure that Bam is in between Embiid in the basket at all times on offense and on defense, frankly. And then I think you probably end up in a scenario, if it's a slow game and Bam does what I expect him to do, that would lead me towards the under on the rebounds. I mean, just in general, the unders are probably the play here because I get the sense that this is going to feel a bit like one of those old Knicks Heats playoff games where it's just like these two teams are just going to try and punch each other in the mouth.
Playoff Jimmy here, Davis. We take a look at his numbers at the FanDuel Sportsbook tonight. No stranger to really wanting to beat the Philadelphia 76ers because they felt that the organization chose Ben Simmons and chose a certain head coach over Jimmy Butler before he bounced to Miami. So, he's going to be focused in and really will be feeding off the crowd tonight. 23.5 points is his prop along with 5.5 rebounds and 5.5 assists. Play in Jimmy tonight. What do we expect out of Jimmy Butler?
I mean, I expect Jimmy Butler to be way better than his season averages, which were 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, 5.3 rebounds. I mean, I expect him to top all of those numbers in maybe every single game that the Miami Heat plays for the next couple weeks. So one, he averaged 34 minutes in the regular season. I mean, automatically boost that up. He's not going to play a minute less than 38 minutes tonight, and I would not be surprised if he just does not sub out in the second half of this game at all. I think he probably just plays the entire 24 minutes straight. Maybe they'll give him a 2-minute rest at the beginning of the fourth quarter where Jaquez will sub in for him, or maybe Duncan Robinson, depending on what the matchups are like. I think the value from my projection, which would be 38, 39, 40 minutes is the most likely outcome for him, is going to show a little bit of value on all these overs.
Let's see who wins this game. The winner, as we said, will move on to take on the New York Knicks as the true number 7 seed. The loser of this game is going to fight another day here with a home game going up against the winner of this next game tonight of the doubleheader. A 9:40 tip time that's going to be between the Atlanta Hawks and the Chicago Bulls. Currently right now at the FanDuel Sportsbook, minus 3-point favorite for the Chicago Bulls in a total that's listed at 222.5. If we get the statistical betting analysis here of where these bets are coming from FanDuel, just checking it out right now, it looks like 6 out of every 10 tickets coming in on the Chicago Bulls in this game. Is it so simple just to say I'm taking the home team, or is there a legitimate chance that the Atlanta Hawks can go in and pull the mild upset in the Windy City over the Bulls?
I mean, I just have a very hard time with this Hawks team because they are definitely worse than the sum of their parts. Like, the Atlanta Hawks have a bunch of good players on their roster. Trae Young is a really good player. Dejounte Murray is a really good player, like a good defensive player. He's a good three-point shooter. He doesn't turn the ball over too much as a guard. Bogdanovic, if they had decided to trade him at the trade deadline, he would have went for a first-round pick, probably like a top 10 protected first-round pick. Oklahoma City could have used him. Minnesota, if they had a first-round pick to trade, would have loved that. And the Lakers, how good would Bogdan be on the Lakers? I mean, he would be huge for them. In fact, I bet they would even sit D'Angelo Russell for him in some close games down the road. Clint Capella is an awesome player. Obviously, the big thing here is that they are missing Jalen Johnson, who really was their best player in the regular season. Weird story. You don't see stuff like this all this often, but Vit Krejci had been starting down the road. He'd been playing 30 minutes a night for the Atlanta Hawks as they tried to solidify their position. And they just decided to not keep or convert his two-way contract. There's never really been anything like this because two-way contracts haven't been around that long, but they're just like, you know what, Veet, thank you for your services. We don't need you anymore. So I guess that means Garrison Matthews is going to be in the playoff rotation for the Hawks. And then on the Bulls side, they play the exact same rotation, exact same team every single night. They're like the most underwhelming team in all of basketball. I do have a crazy stat for this game, which is that when Andre Drummond is on the floor, the Chicago Bulls rebound 38% of their opposing team's misses. So over a third of the time when you miss a shot against the Bulls, or when the Bulls miss a shot, they are going to get the ball back. It's like pretty incredible. I mean, I don't know how much Drummond will probably play 20 minutes tonight, something like that, because Vooch, I think, is going to have trouble on defense trying to protect the rim against Trey. I've not really been able to talk myself into an answer here either way. I really do not know who wins this game.
Bulls points props tonight heading into it. DeMar DeRozan, 28.5. Nikola Vucevic, 19.5. Kobe White, 19.5. Ayu Dosunmu, 13.5. And Alex Caruso, 10.5. Any one of these props to the over or the under may be piquing your interest here, Davis.
I don't think either of these are all that interesting. I mean, I think I would lean over on most of the high-end player props here. So for DeMar, I would lean over. Probably would lean over for Kobe White as well. Not so much on Vucevic. He's got the one tough defensive matchup that the Hawks have to offer, which is Clint Capella or Onyeka Okongwu. And then on the Hawks side, I mean, I'll go ahead and spoil it. Trae Young is scoring more than 23.5 points. I mean, Trae Young, you can take that one to the bank. That is my gold star, 5-star lock of the week. Trae Young is scoring more than 23 points in this game.
By the way, does that mean we're looking at that total of 222.5 and we're feeling more of a tempo pace here with the Atlanta Hawks, or is that game figured to maybe go under the 222.5 for you?
No, this is going to be your classic over in a playoff game because both teams are playing sloppy. Trae Young is going to turn the ball over. Kobe White and Caruso are going to turn the ball over. There's going to be three-pointers. There's going to be just some shots from the logo. Like, it's going to be Caruso's hitting corner threes. I just because the Hawks are just so small. I mean, they're like, Bogdan is going to be playing like a little bit of power forward when DeAndre Hunter has to sub off in this game. They're just a very small NBA team. So I am leaning on the over here.